What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and joining me for this review of BelleCollective Season 6, Episode 5, Biloxi Blues. So it starts off with Carrie. So Carrie has planned a crawfish boil. And when she said that she has planned a crawfish boil, I thought it was going to be like an actual picnic or get together with a bunch of people, a whole bunch of seafood, the main attraction being the crawfish with sausage and potatoes and corn and the whole thing and sauce, the whole shebang. So I was a little bit taken aback when it was just her, Letitia, Marie, and Selena. And half of the women didn't even want the crawfish. Letitia and Marie struggled with the crawfish, and the crawfish boil looked dry as hell. I don't think it had any sauce on it whatsoever. There was nothing else with it to embellish it. There was no corn, no sausage, no potatoes, no nothing, just crawfish. And like I said, it looked really dry. I didn't see any damn sauce. And she brings a jar of mayo and some dry bread. I'm like, what the hell is this, Carrie? And she talks about, well, I'm from the coast. I'm from the coast. I know how to do a crawfish boil. Do you? Because it didn't look like you had a clue on what the hell you were doing. It looked awful. And I love seafood and I love crawfish, but the fact that Marie and Letitia didn't want to partake, I didn't blame them at all. So she didn't invite Latrice and she didn't invite Tambra for obvious reasons, right? So they talk a little bit about Latrice's pool party. They didn't go too deep into it. Selena tells Letitia that this is a setback for her and Latrice because Letitia and Latrice had made, some steps forward in their friendship and they were trying to get to a better place. At least they were finally communicating with one another. So this whole thing that happened at the pool party completely set them back to square one. Now, Carrie then invites all the girls to the Gulf Coast for like a weekend getaway or for a girls' trip. And Marie immediately asks Carrie, who all did you invite? And Carrie said, I invited everybody. So now everybody's worried about how Latrice and Letitia are going to get along on this girls' trip and what's going to pop off, if anything. So Carrie wants Letitia to kick off her brunch tour at her restaurant because I think she has a restaurant in Biloxi. So she wants Letitia to kick off her brunch tour at her restaurant while they're in Biloxi. And Letitia was down for it, right? So she was okay with that. Letitia accepts it because she wants to support Carrie. And she also wants this girls' trip and the kickoff of her brunch tour to be a distraction for her from what's been going on with Glenn and Latrice and Amanda. Moving on from there, we see Tambra. She's at home with her baby girl and she is in full mommy mode. And the baby is so, so, so adorable, so cute. And so while she's playing with the baby, Damon comes home. And Tambra tells us that Damon has taken on another job working in a lounge for one of his friends. And so they have a discussion about how he's working really hard, putting in all these hours. He's working from sun up to sundown. And so she wants to take a little gander, a little peekaboo at his finances, at his income, and see what's going on there. And she talks about how she's so much of a planner with her money and she's very careful with her money, so on and so forth, her savings. And so she would like, they're in a partnership, they're raising a child together. So she would like to know what's going on with his finances. I'm pretty sure that Tambra is really transparent with hers. Automatically, Damon gets very defensive for like no reason. As far as I'm concerned, it was like no reason. Like, why wouldn't you want your partner to know? Y'all are a family, y'all have a home together, y'all raising a child together. Why can't she know how much money you're earning or what you're bringing in? Like, why are you trying to shut her out of that? Now, I don't know if the people that watch me on BelleCollective reviews, if y'all see me on 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After reviews, because Darcy is going through the same exact thing with her husband, Georgie, where he's working, he's making money, but he refuses to show Darcy how much he's making, or to talk about his finances at all. I don't know why some husbands are like this. This is your partner, this is your wife. Why don't you want them to know what's going on with your finances? And we know that men die at a higher rate compared to women, or they die before women. Well, they die younger, at a younger age than women on average. So wouldn't you want her to know what's going on with the finances? If anything happens to you, she'll know what to do. She'll be aware of what the hell is going on, and she'll know how to, take care of her kid. So why does this have to be such a secret what you're earning, because he got really defensive. And Tambra says that whenever she brings up finances, he automatically like puts up a wall. He just automatically shuts down. So Damon asks her, like, why? Why do you want to know? And then he says, we've never gone without, so what's the problem? And Tambra's like, baby, I will never go without, with or without you. I will never be without. Me and my kid will always be good. But it's a good idea for us to know what's going on with each other's finances. He didn't want to talk about it. That was the end of that conversation. He got really defensive, and I don't know why. Moving on from there, we have Latrice. She's at home with her husband, Cliff. Now, she's in her room packing up her stuff, telling Cliff that she's about to go on this girls trip. And Cliff tells her that he wants her to come downstairs because he has a surprise for her. So she comes down and he's got this dinner all laid out for her. And so they sit down and she wants to know what's the special occasion. He says to her, well, I know that you've been going through a lot with the other Bells. And so I just wanted to do something nice for you. There are these tiny, even though they're very few and far between, there are these tiny glimpses of Cliff being a good, caring husband to Latrice. But like I said, they're very much overshadowed by his barbaric ways. So they're sitting down, they're eating, they're talking, and they talk a little bit about what happened at their pool party. And Latrice tells Cliff that after the pool party, she did have a conversation with Amanda, and that Amanda had admitted she was wrong for what she did to Letitia. And I'm just like, what part of that does Amanda feel like she did wrong? Was it bringing up the whole situation in front of everybody else? Was it telling Letitia at all? Does she feel like she still should have told Letitia, but maybe should have told her in private instead of in front of everybody? But who knows? So Latrice says that she herself also feels really bad for Letitia. She said that she tried to reach out to her, but Letitia refused to answer her call. I'm not surprised because it I've always thought this was a setup. And I thought that the show wanted us to think that Latrice had set up Letitia. Because there was that whole entire scene when she was getting ready for the pool party, last minute, putting last minute things together before the guests arrived, where she was in the kitchen with the girl that read the questions, I think. And she was talking about how she wanted to play this game, asking like a couples game, a couples question game or whatever, a Q&A game for the couples. She talked about how she was going to introduce this game to the group. I automatically assumed that she had also planned out the damn questions. The questions didn't come from a box. The girl was reading the questions from a piece of paper that somebody had written or typed up the questions on. It wasn't like it was a game that was bought at the store and she was, they were playing this store bought game. It was questions written down by somebody. And to me, that somebody was Latrice. And so I thought she purposely had planned these questions to target Letitia. And I thought the show wanted us to think that. But Latrice is like, she doesn't understand why Letitia's mad at her. So Latrice asked her husband, where will he be while she's gone on the girls' trip? Or like, where's he going to be sleeping, or where's he going to be at? And he tells her he's going to be at the condo where he's been staying. And Latrice tells him that when she returns home, she expects him to have moved back into their family home, into their marital home. And Cliff said that she was controlling, because she's telling him what to do. If this scene was true and genuine and sincere, which I don't know if it is or if it isn't, but if this was a sincere scene and this was his genuine reaction to her telling him that she wants him to move back in, then I'm not understanding why Latrice is still with this guy. How is it controlling for your wife to want you to move back in with her? Y'all are married. The assumption is that y'all are supposed to be living together unless y'all are separated. And I haven't heard that Latrice and Cliff are separated. If they're keeping it under wraps, I don't know nothing about that. It would make sense if they were separated. But the fact that she wants him to move back in and the fact that nothing has been said about them being legally separated makes me think that they're still together as a couple. Why don't you want to live with your wife? From there, we get to the Biloxi trips. They're on their way to the house. They're all in the Sprinter van. And Latrice tells the girls that she is not going to share a room, a bathroom, a toilet, a sink, and anything with anybody. She doesn't share anything. So she expects to have her own room and she expects to have her own bathroom. Tambra says that Carrie is in charge of the room placement. So I remember when Carrie, and who did she first arrive with? Was it Selena? I think when Carrie and Selena arrived together, not Carrie, I'm sorry, Tambra. I think when Tambra and Selena first arrived and they're waiting for the other girls to show up, Tambra had said that Carrie had put them in charge or made them as chaperones or something. She assigned them some type of title on this girls' trip. Tambra and Selena, I think. Or was it Tambra and Marie? Tambra and somebody. So I was kind of surprised that Carrie would assign anything to Tambra because Tambra and Latrice are real tight. And then Carrie is trying to be like a good friend to Letitia. So why would Carrie want to put Tambra in charge of anything? Because Tambra is part of that whole Latrice clique. I was very confused about that. Before the girls arrived and when Carrie was getting everything together, her husband was telling her that she should put Latrice and Letitia in the same room, in the bunk room, with the room with the bunk beds. And his reasoning was, put them in the same room so that they can work out their issues. And I thought that was like an awful idea. This is a very short trip, and nothing is going to be resolved on this trip between Latrice and Letitia. Letitia has been through a lot. As much as I criticize her marriage to Glenn, I also feel sorry for her in this situation that she's been through with Amanda because it was like an ambush. It was like Latrice was targeting her. And I think Latrice kind of does have a pattern. I agree with Glenn that Latrice may have a pattern of doing things to attack Letitia and her marriage, or to attack Letitia and her business, or Letitia and her reputation. I think that Latrice has shown that she's got something. There's something about Letitia that is rubbing Latrice the wrong way, and Latrice feels like she has to do these type of things against Letitia. So, as much as I'm very critical of Letitia and Glenn's marriage, and I question Letitia on why she has stayed this long with someone who has repeatedly offended her, I do feel sorry for Letitia. And to put her in a room with Latrice to me is crazy. And I think it's just something concocted by the producers for drama. Because if Carrie was a real friend and not influenced by these producers, she definitely would have put Letitia in her own room because Letitia is the one that's been going through hell. And whether she deserves it or she doesn't, she's been going through hell. Compared to everybody else, Letitia has gone through a lot within the past couple of episodes. So I would have thought that Carrie, as her friend, would have put her in her own room. But I guess not. So we're back in the splinter. We're back in the Sprinter van, and somebody had asked, I think it was Marie. Marie asked Letitia, well, how is Glenn doing? And Letitia said that this has been a setback for them and that she's tired of people playing in her face and the whole situation is really weird. Letitia tells us, no, excuse me, Latrice tells us that she really hates what happened to Letitia and that she can definitely feel the tension between her and Letitia. Of course, you can feel the damn tension. You set all this up. This is all you're doing, Latrice, in my personal opinion. This is all you're doing. So the ladies arrive at the damn house. Carrie has swag bags for all the ladies. It's a really cute little house, cute little setup with the swag bag and everything else. And Carrie announces to everybody that the first thing that she's going to take them on is a gator tour at the gator farm. Basically, Marie says, you mean the swamp? And Latrice was like, not in these heels. Yeah, she's going to take these bougie ladies out to the swamp. Okay, fine, whatever. And so Marie was complaining in her confessional, like, why does Carrie keep making us do these things? She failed with the crawfish. The girls don't want to go out in the swamp, but it is what it is. So Carrie takes them to their rooms. And now we come to the room assignment scene, right? You don't have a reality TV show unless you have a room assignment scene. So when it comes to the rooms and who's going to get what, she tells them that there's only 4 rooms. So 2 of them are going to have to bunk together. And of course, they all freak out about that. Marie says, I have lupus. Marie says, I have lupus. I can't share with nobody. And Latrice says, I don't share, period. So, okay. So Carrie says that she has assigned the rooms by age. So the oldest gets to pick first, and so on and so forth. Selena's the oldest. She's 49 years old, so she gets to pick her own room. Marie, I guess her birthday comes before Tambra because she came next, but her and Tambra are both 45. So Marie picks her own room. Tambra picks her own room. So that leaves the baby Bells, Latrice and Letitia, to share a room. Of course, they don't like that. Latrice is talking about, where's the nearest hotel. I just, I don't agree with this. I think that Tambra and Latrice should have shared a room because they're best buddies or BFFs, and Letitia should have gotten her own room. Anyway, so Carrie intends, Carrie, so in my personal opinion, Carrie to me, she had always intended for Letitia and Latrice to share a room. That was her main, and so she had to think of a way that didn't look like it was done on purpose. And so she wanted it to seem like it was very arbitrary. She wanted to choose a method that appeared to be very arbitrary. And that's why she came up with this whole age thing. And just coincidentally, Latrice and Letitia happened to be the youngest. So they were stuck like Chuck, having to share the bunk room. I don't think Carrie's a real friend to Letitia. I don't think she's a real friend to Letitia, but whatever. They go on the gator tour. Everything was fine. They get to see the baby alligators. Everything was fine. Now we get to the damn dinner, the Ponderosa. Shout out to uh, Jackie Christie. So they get to the restaurant, they sit down, the appetizers are raw oysters. Marie is freaking out. Okay, she's just not doing this whole seafood thing. So Letitia then brings up the pool party, and she says that she was very humiliated and disrespected at her own friend's house. She says that Latrice had lied to her because Latrice had known what Amanda was coming there to do. And like I said, I think Latrice and Amanda planned the whole entire thing. I've already talked about that ad nauseum. I think this was an ambush. It was planned, it was plotted, and it was targeted to Letitia and Glenn. Latrice says, what reason does she possibly have to want to do this to Letitia? And Letitia talks about how it felt like it was an ambush. And because Latrice knew about the DMs, but didn't even tell her about it. And I think Latrice, I don't know when this happened or even if it happened on camera, but it seemed like when Letitia had brought up to Latrice, well, if you knew about him, why didn't you tell me? I think at some point Latrice had told Letitia that, yeah, when she talked about the DMs and everything, I just kind of blew it off. Like she didn't put too much into it, but she did because she plotted this whole entire attack against Letitia based on these damn DMs. Latrice is wondering why Tambra isn't jumping into the mix to kind of help her out because Tambra was there when Amanda brought up the DMs. And so Latrice is like, Tambra, like, can you help a sister out? Like, what's going on? Why are you sitting there on mute? And so Tambra wasn't going to help Latrice. Okay. She wasn't going to jump in. She wasn't going to save her. She wasn't going to say anything. Latrice said that she never once had done anything wrong to Letitia. She says, I can name several things that you've done to me, but can you name at least one thing that I've ever done to you? And Letitia was like, well, I beg to differ. Yes, you have done things to me. So then she brings up Antoinette, how she feels like Latrice brought Antoinette onto the show to attack her, to go after her. And then she brings up Amanda. First it was Antoinette, now it's Amanda. I guess Letitia, any of Latrice's friends whose names begin with the letter A, you're going to be getting involved in some mess. Stay the hell away from them. So it's like Latrice is purposely bringing people on this show to attack Letitia. Tambra finally wakes up and she's found her voice now. And she says that Latrice had no clue what Amanda was planning to do. No, I don't believe that. Shut up, Tambra. I don't believe that. And there's other, even Selena, and I think even Carrie said that they did not believe that Latrice knew beforehand what Amanda had planned to do with those DMs. And I can't believe that they don't believe that. I can't believe that they think that Latrice had nothing to do with this. I would probably have believed that maybe Latrice was not involved if it wasn't for the fact that Latrice was the one that brought up the game. Because, like I said, there was that scene in her kitchen where she was like, well, we're going to play a game. It's going to be like a couples game. And she had a piece of paper in her hand, I believe. And it seemed like either she or someone else, the girl who read the questions, was writing down the questions that were going to be asked. I don't know. Letitia says that those questions were asked to target her and that, Latrice is playing in her face again. Latrice says, if I'm playing in your face, then your husband Glenn is also playing in your face. But I'm not playing in your face, so don't put me in that category. Letitia says that Latrice's whole intention was to try to embarrass her publicly. Now, Marie absolutely, completely clocked it when she said Latrice knew about those questions beforehand. And Latrice denied it, denied it, denied it. And Marie didn't believe Latrice. Marie believes that Latrice planned those questions, as do I. So there was, okay, so she was, and plus she was also the host of the party. She was the host of the party. I'm pretty sure she had a hand on the entertainment for the night. Therefore, she planned the game. Therefore, she knew what these questions were going to be. Letitia asks Latrice if she's ever seen Glenn do anything with her own eyes inappropriately. Has she ever seen Glenn do anything inappropriate? So at this point, Latrice takes her drink and she just kind of sips it and didn't say anything. And Marie tells Letitia, that right there is your answer. That right there is your answer, because she didn't answer. Her not answering said it all. So then Letitia asked her again. She goes, with your own eyes, have you ever seen Glenn do anything inappropriate? And still, Latrice didn't say anything. And that's where the episode ended. You would think that Latrice would have enough confidence in herself as a woman to not want to stoop this low to try to attack somebody within their collective or within their friend group, because Latrice really always wants to make it look like she has it all. She wants to make it look like, she's that girl. She's got the rich husband. She's got the successful businesses. She's making money hand over fist. She's beautiful. She's young. She's got a great body. You would think that she has enough confidence to not want to go after someone else in her own friend group. And I don't know why, if she is targeting or trying to attack Letitia, I don't know what it is about Letitia that has gotten her so frazzled. I don't know if it's something Letitia did or said. If she did, I can't remember. I watched so much reality TV. I don't know who did what when. I can't remember what Letitia could have done to Latrice to make her feel some kind of way, other than possibly, talk about her marriage. Now, there was that one season where there was a lot of focus on Latrice and Glenn's marriage. It was the season where, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, where Latrice had a friend, like a male gay friend, who was staying with her and Glenn. It was that season with that guy. And that season, there was a lot of focus on her marriage with Glenn. And I'm pretty sure Letitia was of the mindset that, yeah, your marriage is horrible. And I don't know if that's why Latrice wants to react to Letitia, or if it was something else that was said and done, or if it's just Letitia's existence that really bothers her, or if she thinks that Letitia and Glenn are better off than her and Cliff. I don't know what the hell's going on, because to tell the truth, all of these marriages are terrible. Glenn and Letitia's marriage, to me, is, but all relationships are bad. All relationships go through stuff. All relationships have problems. Marriages, relations, whatever. They all have problems. We all have problems. But I think some things are just intolerable. And I think cheating is one of those things, especially a repeat offender. Especially a repeat offender like Glenn. But Cliff ain't no better. Glenn ain't no better. Cliff ain't no better. So if Latrice is jealous of Letitia's marriage, she shouldn't be. They're in the same exact boat. And Marie, okay, sweetheart, I've kind of been quiet on you, but I think that what you're doing is also, first of all, I think that Marie and what's his name, Cedric, being back together is just for the show. I don't believe that they're really back together in real life. I think it's just for the show. Just like on the Real Housewives of Potomac, when Giselle brought her ex-husband Jamal Bryant back, trying to pretend they were getting back together again. We're just all for show. All for show. So Marie and Cedric, I think it's all for show. The way that Marie is acting, she's very grandiose about it, very overly dramatic when it comes to Cedric, and the scenes that she does with Cedric, especially when there's an audience, when there's other people there. I think it's just all for show. I don't believe, but if she really is trying to go back with Cedric, that's a big no. You never go back to an ex, because whatever issues y'all had that caused y'all to divorce or break up, those issues are probably still going to be there unless you went through counseling. I don't know. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.